Next question. How has your view of the adult industry changed since you started? Um, this is gonna be an interesting question because for me, I've not been in it that long, but I started in November of 2019, but then like soon after that, COVID hit, so the world shut down, and then as the world started to open up, I started to get more involved in the adult industry, started getting booked more, started doing more. Um, but what I saw before I got into the industry was very, um, from an outsider looking in, was very whitewashed. Very, you had to look a certain way. And then I got in, people were very friendly. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting as much help as I received when I got in here. People are very friendly, very knowledgeable,
Supportive.
very supportive. I was expecting people to be a little bit more vindictive, very cold, very shallow, which I've seen a few people that are like that, but I don't know how long they've been in the industry. I don't know if they were just having a bad day, but that happens to us all. You just had an off day. So I don't really judge them on the one time I met them, especially if I was PA and I really get to have a conversation with them. Then there was the Black Lives Matter movement, which really impacted the way that studios looked at their performers and the way that they wrote some of their scripts, not all of them. And that was hot for about 5 minutes, and then that completely died off. And you have these studios who are now saying that, oh, we do hire people of color, but you get the lightest or brightest person of color that you can get, whether the person is Latino, whether they're Asian, whether they're Black, and you put this person in front of the camera and be like, look, we hired a minority. And it's like, and you're like, oh, let me give myself a round of applause or a pat on the back. And it's, mama, go lay down. Go lay down. And it's like, would you hired one person.
Sometimes they hire a person that can pass for white, and just because they are actually an ethnicity, they're like, oh, look, we're with the movement. Yeah. But your performer looks like,
everyone else.
Yeah, which I know can be a little bit controversial, but continue, I'm sorry.
I should get dog hair all over me now. You can't see it. But I there are a number of studios who don't care. They just hire someone. And in being based in Vegas and driving to LA back and forth, I get to work in both states. It's rare that I get flown anywhere now to go perform, because it's cheaper to hire somebody local. Usually if it's going to be out of state, it's because I was already heading that way. I have seen this industry, in the few years I've been in it, open its doors for more people to enter, but not really giving people an opportunity to grow or giving them the information they need to grow. It's like someone who was coming into this industry who is 18, right out of high school. Are you old enough to be in the industry? Absolutely. Do you have the mindset and the self-awareness to be in this industry at that young of age? Personally, I want to say no, because I have worked with a handful of people who have been under the age of 20, and I PA'd on sets where people have been a little bit younger, and just the maturity level that I see from some of them, it's almost like someone should have sat them down and said, okay, welcome to the adult industry 101. Here is how you put money away to pay taxes because you're an independent contractor. Not every state is going to take taxes out of your check. So make sure you put 10% of your check into a savings. Just so at the end of the year, you have the money to pay your taxes. Don't go out and buy the most expensive new thing in the world, because 2 months from now it's not going to be the same, and yet you're still paying a lot of money on this. You may be hot today, but tomorrow this may not be the same situation. You're the new person, so everyone's going to want their little slice of pie from you. There's only so much of you can give out before there's nothing left of you. Know who you are. Know your boundaries. Know what you will do and what you won't do. And if it's something that you won't do or you don't want to do, stand your ground. Because as soon as you say yes to one person, you'll end up saying yes to everyone. And next thing you know, you're doing things that you never thought you would do. And you're going to get burned out in this industry a lot sooner than what one person would thought. Or they thought they would. And I'm glad that hasn't happened to me, because I was able to be in the right circumstances with the right people who are looking out for me, all at the same time. I think I got into the industry at the right moment with the right person. I think if it was with anybody else, I wouldn't have known better. And who knows if I would still be in this industry, or one of these people who look at this industry very jaded. I still think this industry has a lot more room to grow, especially when it comes to using people of color, and not just as props or as background workers or background in a scene, and more than just BBCs or pretty black girls. We are talented people. Most of us have graduated high school. Some of us graduated college. Most of us had careers before we even entered the adult entertainment. One thing I don't like about this industry is when outsiders are completely looking down on adult performers as this is the only job in the world that we're able to do. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, they must have mommy or daddy issues. And that makes me sad, especially when I'm looking. I have a lot of female followers, and I follow back, or if I'm going through their timelines, and people leave the nastiest comments, and it's usually unfortunately it's the females who get them. Talking about they have daddy issues. You couldn't strip, so you had to do porn, or you're too ugly to do anything else. And it's like, why would you say something like that to somebody? And these women are gorgeous. Whether they're, a 0 or a size 16 or bigger, or they're short, they're tall. I did that backwards. I said short and tall. If they're skinny, if they're big, they're brown hair, blue eyes, brown eyes, blue hair. Who cares? It's just, I don't see why someone would go online to say something about that. If you don't like it, just keep scrolling, or don't follow that particular person. Or guy or trans performer or whoever it is. Just, if you don't like it, you don't like it. I get it. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But going back to the original question, how has it changed? It's changed somewhat for the better. There's still, like I said, there's still a lot of work to be done. There are still a lot of allies that are out there who are fighting for us to get better representation, not only in front of the camera but behind the camera. And in some of these meetings, they're having meetings about us, but we're not in the room. Mm-hmm. So this inclusion. Mm-hmm. If you're going to talk about us, make sure that we're part of the conversation. If you want to have meetings about us, invite us. Hear from us what we're looking for and what we need.
Mm-hmm. I think my biggest issues with the industry are, like you touched on, diversity and inclusion. When I first started, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm having a great time. I'm getting booked here and there and everywhere, and I'm meeting this person and I'm meeting that person. Everybody seems so nice, and I'm having a great time. But then I would get to set and I would realize I am the only person of color in the building. Not just out of the performers, but out of the crew as well. I'm the only person of color there, and I started to wonder why. Why is that? Why are there other people? Aren't there more people of color who want to do this? And when I found out that the answer is yes, there are more people of color that would like to do this. They're just not given the opportunity. I started to get a little bit pissed. I was like, why am I the only one who's allowed to do this, but no one else can? There was a time when I was really starting to get bitter and jaded, and you know this because I was, talking to you about it all the time. I just felt like it was really unfair, the way that people of color were excluded or limited. The amount of bookings that we get is a fraction compared to some of the bookings that our colleagues are getting. And I don't hate anybody for what they're doing. I'm glad. Look, you go make your money. I'm happy for you. I just don't like the fact that we're being neglected. People who are just equally as talented, equally as beautiful,
if not more responsible.
Yeah, and in some cases more responsible, more reliable, are struggling, while people who are have whatever. I don't want to start comparing us to other people, but I just felt like we were being underutilized, underappreciated. There was a lack of respect, and just I was getting really angry, and I was thinking to myself, I need to find a way out, because this isn't going to work for me. I'm not doing well. This is not good for for my spirit to be dealing with this all day, every day. And I think what changed, there was a few things that changed. When I got a Performer of the Year, Gay Performer of the Year from XBiz, I was like, wait, they see me, they appreciate my contributions, they want to give me they're giving me this award, a Performer of the Year. This is a huge deal. It wasn't like, I'm grateful for any nominations or awards I received, but it wasn't like an award for a movie that I was in that had more to do with the collective as opposed to just me. Performer of the Year is just me. And that's kind of turned my mind. It reignited me. It made me feel like, oh, okay, I'm not done here yet. There's still room for me to grow, and there's still potential in this industry to grow.
Yes.
And then I also just started feeling like there comes a time when you're in this business where you can no longer sit around and wait for the phone to ring. You have to create your own opportunities. And we're still building on that, but I think we both understand that now, right? Are we both on the same page with that at this point?
Yes.
He got there first, and then he waited for me to catch up.
I have been writing chapters on this.
I finally caught up and realized that I can't sit around and wait anymore, because you just have to do it yourself. And so that's where we are. I've realized that I've seen just more inclusion and diversity being accepted, and then I saw it go back to the status quo for a little while, and now I've gotten to the point where I don't care. I'm making my own path with their whatever approval or support or not. I'm making my own way. I heard something from the actress Jennifer Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
She said so much. She says so many amazing, inspiring things. But one of the things I don't remember exactly what it was, but she says she doesn't. She just performs. Mm-hmm. She just entertains. She doesn't care who it's for, who she's entertaining. She's just going to do it because that's what she was meant to do. That's what she enjoys doing. You can watch it or not watch it. She doesn't care. She's going to do what makes her happy. Mm-hmm. And so I realized, you know what? I'm not going to care so much about that anymore either. I'm just going to, if it brings me joy, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pursue it. I'm going to continue to, put myself out there and make it happen. I have noticed lately that I've been getting more opportunities to do things behind the camera. which sometimes makes me nervous because I'm not quite ready to stop being a performer.
But
I still want to be in front of the camera.
But no one said that you have to be, though.
Right, but I think it's also time to start doing things behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I need to take more control over not just what's going on for me, but being able to help other people get to where I am. And we have friends who are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We have friends who are doing that, and it's a great thing. But it's a slow process. It takes time and it takes persistence.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, if when people are like, oh, I wanna write, or I wanna direct, watching some of these directors work, it's not easy. Regardless
if they're doing it right, it's not easy. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're doing adult entertainment or you're doing like your own content, because you still want to make it look in the best, or you're doing you're directing your very first feature film for a big studio. Regardless of what scale you're on, you still want things to look presentable. You don't want to put trash out there with your name on it, unless that's what you're going for. You want it to look choppy. You want it to look bad, because that is the whole outline of what it is that you're doing. But in most cases, you want to take that time. You want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the people who know what they're doing, not with some amateur with the camera and be like, oh, look, I can direct. That's not a shot at anyone who does that. But and there's a lot of people who did that, who's built their way up. You started here and you slowly worked and hustled and did the grind to get to where you're at, whether it's a Steven Spielberg or John Paul the Pope or Michael Martinez. There's a process to it. You're not just gonna pick up a camera one day and know everything, because there's lighting, there's sound. Oh my God, lighting, sound. Making sure you have the right chemistry with the right actors. That's huge, because you could get two people who may look good on camera, but when they start talking, it's like, oh, what is this? This is not what I thought it was gonna look like. In my head, this was a great pairing, but this is not a good pairing. But again, there's a lot that goes wrong with that. I want to piggyback on what you said, because a year ago, maybe a little more, I was on the phone with a good friend of ours, Davin Strong. So hey, Davin, if you see this, and I was on the phone with Davin, talking to him, saying, hey, I'm going to get out of this business. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go back to work a 9 to 5. I got my resume built. I went on Career Builder or whatever the job sites are, and I put my resume out there because I was done with the industry. I was done with being lied to. It's the lying to my face, talking about, oh my God, we love you. You're such a great performer. We can't wait to work with you again. And then
you never hear from them again.
Well, then that, or they tell me that, and then when I say, "Oh, that's great. Can I get a couple of more scenes?" I'm not asking for the world. I'm asking for maybe 1 or 2 extra scenes a month. If I'm going to drive all the way out to California, I want to make it at least worth my money. And I'm not asking for a hotel. I'm just asking for an extra scene. I have accommodations out there. I can stay with family. But when you look at me, you look me dead in the eye, it's like, Jake, I would love to, but a calendar's completely booked. We got to recycle the guys. We can't use the same guys over and over again because it looks redundant. I get that. But then my scene partner comes into a room and literally asks the same question that I ask. And then you tell that person, yes, you can get them 6 scenes, 2 more for the month, and then 4 more for the following month. And I'm still sitting in the room. That's what bugs me. Mm-hmm. That's what aggravates the piss out of me. It's like, if you're going to tell me just no, I'd rather you just tell me no because your scenes don't sell as well as so-and-so's. That's fine. If that's the case, then just tell me then. Don't lie to me and say no, you can't, but then tell the next person who literally comes in the door right behind me, tells them yes. You at least wait till I walked out of the room and said yes. That is the part that aggravates me about the industry, or that same line as we have to recycle we don't want to use the same guys over and over again, which I understand, especially if you have exclusive models. And for those of you who don't know what exclusive means, that if a company were to come to either one up and say, hey, we want you as an exclusive, that means we can only work for that company. So company XXX came and said, Jake, we want you to sign this contract for a year. That means I can only work, and if I'm stupid enough to sign it without reading it, I can only work with that company for a year. Every shoot I do is going to be with that particular company. Now, there are some companies who are out there who have very good offers for their exclusive models. They can give them X amount of dollars a scene and guaranteed X amount of scenes per month. And on the and then you do the promotional, the travels and stuff like that. And for those who like it, that's great for them, because they can and that's where some of the models make really good money. For those of us who are contractors or independent, we can work with any studio that we want to, or that wants to hire us. They'll call, are you available? Yes, we are. Go out, do the job, and come home. You know, and I like it that way. But even within it, this still has its ups and downs, because there could be moments where we're both busy, where we're not really seeing each other. We're like crossing each other, like, you know, just two. What is
ships in the night?
Yes, thank you. Two ships passing in the night. That hasn't happened in a long time, but it happens sometimes. But again, not complaining about this. I love this industry. I really do. I think there's a lot that needs to be changed. I think it's with any business, with any corporation, there are going to be underlying things that a lot of people don't see or refuse to see until it's too late. I think we answered that question.
I think we did as well.
Okay.
Before she goes up there and knocks
Right?
the light over.
I know.